So, well, hello everyone. Welcome to this video. Welcome back to my YouTube. Sorry it took me so long to get this video up. This is the fourth or fifth time I'm recording it. Now, the cool thing is right over here, I'm going to have some graphics going that I will be drawing real time. What I want to talk about is how our government doesn't represent us. This is the first video in this whole thing that I want to put out. The first one I want to talk about is how our government doesn't represent us because they old as shit, though. You know, there's such a group of old people. What does that mean? Well, let's just go over our ground rules, okay? If we want people to represent us, they have to be like, I don't know, within 10 years of the average, older or younger, right? That seems right. The average age of the US is this number right here. Oh my God, this is the thickest writing I've ever seen. Let's go ahead and change the thickness of that down a little bit. 38.5. That right there is the average age of the US citizen. 38.5. Let's keep that in mind as we move forward and go over the three branches of government that are supposed to represent us, right? 38.5. That means that this person was born in the year 1984. This video is super George Orwellian. It's the only reference to 1984 I'll make this entire time because I haven't read the book and I don't know too much about it, to be honest. Doomed to repeat. Okay, so if we know that 1984 is the year that we're looking for the average birth year, and we're also looking for the average age of 38.5, let's take a look at the branches. Let's go ahead and start off with the judicial branch, right? If we go to the judicial branch and we take a gander at the age of those people there, you have the oldest person at 73, that's Clarence Thomas, and the youngest person at 50, that is Amy Coney Barrett, right? They have an average age, though, of 61. And their birth years are 1949 for our good old Clary Tommy and 1972 for our Amy Coney Barrett. This age range does not contain the year 1984, and this average age is not anywhere near 38.5. That is actually 23 years away. They're 23 years away. I've thrown a lot of numbers. 23 years off the average in 1984, not within it. Judicial system, they do not represent us age-wise, all right? Even Ketanji Brown Jackson, I believe she's 54. She was just put in. There'll be the right number over top me on this video. So we figured out the judicial branch doesn't represent us. What about the executive branch? Let's take a nice little blazing look at them. The oldest person in the executive branch is none other than our president, Joey B. Joey B is a nice 79, Mr. Joe Biden. And he actually does a great job of showing his age quite often. Now, Joey B, 79, the youngest, we're including the cabinet in the executive branch, is Pete Buttigieg. Maybe I shouldn't call him Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg at 40 to 79. Their average age in the cabinet is an age of 63. Biden really does pull that average way up there. Now, including everyone here, their year range being 1943 for Joey B to 1982 for good old Pete Buttigieg. That's should never stick. Pete Buttigieg, right? So 1984 sits right over here. It does not sit within this range right here. And 63 is not that close to 38.5. It is actually further away from representing us in the judicial branches with a whopping about 25 years. Now I'm rounding up because I am. So 25 and 1984 not included in this. Once again, executive branch does not represent us when it comes to age. Surprising? I think not, especially when you look at all of them and you wonder, I wonder how often they use that AARP discount that they get at those stores. Or is it 65 plus, senior citizens? I don't know. I'm not that old. People that are that old get it. This sounds ageist, but it's not. It's just simple math. Do they represent the U.S.? As of right now, judicial branch does not. And the executive branch does not. So do you think that the wonderful, wonderful last branch, which is split into two parts, the Congress, it is bicameral, I think is the word for that. If it's not, then to claim it in the comments. The last branch right here is the legislative. Oh man, I'm doing bad. That's not how you spell that word. Legislative, that's not how you spell it. It's not how you spell it at all. But it's, we got Congress in there in the legislative branch, right? Congress, and that is split into the Senate and the House of Representatives. House of Reps, beautiful. I'll just shorten it. We're trying to get this done. In and out, nice and quick. Quickie. So it's split into those two different places. So let's go over real quick before we get too ahead of ourselves. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. I'm just running out of things to say. I spelled legislative wrong. Get over it. This is my video, not yours. Shut up. All right, so let's go first with the House of Representatives. They have an average age of 58, making them the youngest on average. And they also have an age range of 1933, making them having the oldest members for sure, all the way to the wonderful 1995. Isn't that great? But we know that the person who's born in 1995, he's not going to be there come next time. So we have to change this to represent what it's going to be with all the current people who we know will be there. Like Madison Cawthorn is not going to be the representative for long. So that changes it from 1995 to 1989. The cool thing is, this is the first time in our government that 1984 falls within this range right here. It's right at it. I mean, they're just past it, but they do somewhat represent the average age. 1984. There's not a lot younger. Not a lot. Like you got people 5 years younger than the average, and that's about it. Right. But they also fail the average age test right here. That is a 20-year differential. That's awful. Awful. I mean, not nearly as bad as 23 or 25 years away from the average. So right here, they do not hit it, Chief, with the 58. And the 1989, it does contain 1984, but it's not necessarily the average. The average for this one is somewhere in here. I'm going to guess it's 1953, more than likely, is probably where the average sits. So House of Representatives, they old as shit, too. We just got a whole bunch of old people in here. And look, I don't have a problem with old people. I love my grandparents. I have a problem with too many old people in one place, and that is why the Florida Villages is an abomination of a location. Now, let's finish this up with the Senate, right? So the Senate, they've got 100 members. House of Representatives has 335. Just keep that in mind. We've got, I think, 26 members in the cabinet, so 28 with the president and vice president, 9 members of the judicial branch. So those are smaller, like, governmental bodies or whatever. This one is 435 people total, 335 in the House of Representatives that we just talked about. We got 100 in the Senate. Let's check out what the Senate looks to be. Crazy thing is, if you take the numbers of the Senate of who is what, you get the percentages automatically because it's out of 100. Either way, the Senate has an average age right here of 63. Wonderful. And their birth years are 1933 to 1987. 84 fits right on in there, baby. Fits right on in there. Well, they are a lot closer to not having the average age in there than the other, but they still kind of sort of pass, all right? So you got 63, and the average age is 38.5. Does it pass? Absolutely not. That is another 25 years away from the average age. Why am I using the average age? Because that is the best way to define how old our government should reflect. If they're supposed to be representing us, they are supposed to be representing us and be representative of us. So, quick recap, we got the judicial branch, we got the executive branch, we got the Senate, and we got the House of Representatives. Their average age range is 1949 to 1972. Executive is 1943 to 1972. That's not right. That's not 1972. I just did this. It's 1982. Beautiful. We've got Senate at 1933 to 1987. And we've got the House at 1943 to 1982. That doesn't seem right. Is that what I just put there for the House? No, the House isn't at 82. The House is at 89. My notes confused themselves. The House is at 89. Look, if you have a problem with how I do my math, fuck off. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that on a video. All right. And their average ages for the judicial branch right here is 61. And then we've got the average age for them is 63. Then we've got 58 and 61 all over again. Do they hit the magical numbers we need them to? Is 1982 contained within this right here? The answer is no. 1984 does not fall in there. 1984 does not fall in there. 1984 falls in here and in here. So that only half of the branches of government, or not branches, half of the governmental bodies represent us. How about here? It's a fat no. And they are all not even within 20 years of reaching the U.S. average. They don't represent us. They're too old. You're probably wondering, well, that's just how it is. Old people are supposed to be in government. Oh, let me tell you a story of a nation that was being born back in the 1700s. They were oppressed by England in the reign of the Empire, and they decided to themselves, well, there's a lot of things we have wrong, but our wonderful and lovely man by the name of James Otis, right? He said, and I quote, "No taxation without representation." So that means that they were not being represented properly over the pond. But who is they? Well, they decided to start their own government once they decimated the English by knocking them out of the place that they then called home. Those people had a varying amount of ages. So they, being the first American people of our governing body. Marquis de Lafayette, he was 18. Alexander Hamilton was 21. James Madison, 25. Thomas Jefferson, 33. This is at the time of July 4, 1776. Hercules Mulligan, 36. John Adams, 40. Paul Revere, 41. George Washington, 44. Samuel Adams, 53. Ben Franklin, 70. Look at those ages, right? That is a wild smattering of representation all across the board. You're hitting a bunch of different ages back when the U.S. started in its infancy, right? If we're just going to throw up some other numbers in here, let's go ahead and put Joe Biden's age. Let's go ahead and put Clarence Thomas's age. Let's go ahead and put Pete Buttigieg. He kind of fits in here at 40. You've got Kamala Harris, right? She kind of fits in here at 57, right? Isn't that crazy? You've got 50 for Amy Coney Barrett, I believe 54 for Kavanaugh. You've got, let's put in, I believe this is the age of McConnell, and or this is the age, and then you got some in there that 87. You see how different those numbers are? None of them reach into the 3-0. But if we're talking about the 3-0, you got this younger than 3-0, this in the 3-0, younger in it. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 1, 2, 10 of a sample size, right? So let's take all this together. We've got that. The average age of the people, the founding fathers who started this nation. You want to take a wild gander guess? I'll give you a couple of Dora seconds. What do you think is the average age? Nah, you're fucking wrong. You're way off. The average age of our representatives at that time was actually this right here. You stupid. That's the opposite of Dora. Dora praises you for getting it right. I make sure I make you feel bad for getting it wrong. 44. That's their average age. And if we take their birth, right? If we take their age that they were July 4th, and we put it to today's terms, so like they'd be that old today. Here is what it would look like if they were serving, right? 19. Crazy, huh? That right there is more representative of a nation that has a wide berth of ages among them. It's not heavily misrepresented in this one. You've got 1984 nestled just about in the middle. I mean, you've got 18-year-olds, right? 2004, you got 21, 25, all throughout there. This makes that wonderful little bell curve that we're looking for, that bell curve that we want it to look like this, right? Where on top of that bell is 38.5. We want majority of our people to come from right in here, right? Well, the bell curve of the U.S. right now looks more akin to this, right? If we did like 60 plus community, right? It's mostly the 60 plus community representing us. There's this gap right here, this one, that is the problem. Right, but if we did the bell curve of our wonderful, wonderful people who are the ones who started this nation, it lands like right about here, right? So this 44 is closer to here than it is to here. Beautiful. None of these graphics make any fucking sense. I'm just drawing whatever I can. All I'm saying, guys, and this is the point, all in one beautiful, kind, awesome nutshell, our government's too damn old. They're too old. We have to get them out. A lot of them serving multiple consecutive terms and not even really serving us anymore. They've been in there so long that they don't know what it's like to be an American person. And right now it's tough to be an American person. There's so many reasons as why it sucks being American, why so many people are claiming move overseas, do that over there. Well, America sucks because it's too old. It does not represent what America really actually is. I don't want to end this video by just leaving it bleak or making it sound like I'm ageist. I'm not. I think there needs to be a proper representation of people in that age bracket within the government. I think it has to be that way. I'm not saying get rid of them all and make them all just youngies. That's what young people are called. I'm saying make sure that it is properly represented in the US government. And how do we do that? Well, it's something that was instituted for the president not too long ago, and it's this right here. I am not qualified enough to talk about term limits other than to tell you what it does is it limits the amount of times that a politician can be in office. It stops them from getting too old in there to represent the US. It stops them from becoming just lobbyist pawns. It stops them from being in there just to make money. It causes them to have to be in there to serve. We get the best, well, theoretically, the best possible servants in the position. I'm not the best person at talking to you about this. So instead, there's a link in the description that you can click to go ahead and sign a petition for us to get term limits instituted in Congress. I mean, maybe we can get instituted in the Supreme Court, but that's a whole nother conversation. This video is just explaining our government is too fucking old. We need term limits to refresh them every now and then, and we need to stop relying on 60, 70, and 80-year-olds to make laws for 20, 30, 40-year-olds. We need more 20, 30, 40-year-olds in the offices that make decisions. That's all I'm saying. Once again, I don't hate old people. I love my grandparents to death. I think they're amazing. I do not want them running anything that I do because I don't think that they would run it the way that I would prefer it to be run. That's all. Well, guys, if you like this video, I stream every single Sunday morning. I'll be going more in depth into how this works on the next Sunday service. I'm going to be pulling up links, articles, and discussing term limits. It'll probably be the scoop or one of the scoops for that wonderful Sunday service. So if you want to catch more videos, like, subscribe, follow. If you disagree with me, hit those comments up. You can. You absolutely can. But I really think that the biggest takeaway here is that our government should not be an average age of like 60. They need to be closer to that. I made my point. It's time for me to leave. I should have entered cool too. What's up, dog? How you doing, dog? You just sleeping over here, dog? Follow me, you chuckle fuckers. I got more to say. That's it. We out.